Okay, so this is video 3 of me rambling. That's my intent anyway, about songwriting. I think in the first video I talked about how I just start writing a song. It's often a bit haphazard. I start with a couple chords, in many cases, and I sort of get a groove and a feel. And if it feels right, then I might improvise some vocal parts, vocal melodies, all that. And I think in the second video I talked a little more about lyrics and my love for poetry and sort of my long history with writing short stories, writing poetry. There's a chicken saying hi to you. That one's the escape artist, by the way. She's always getting out. Gets over to the neighbors sometimes, apparently. Anyway, um, so anyway, in the second video, I talked a little bit about that, about lyrics, poetry, how important the written word is when I'm coming up with lyrics, and how much I've always loved to read poetry and books and yada yada yada. Anyway, this video I think I want to talk a little more about emoting and emotional content of lyrics, and also the willingness to be vulnerable. I think I'll talk more about the willingness to be vulnerable because that's at the heart of it, right? I've talked to a handful of people, musicians, that have said they struggle with songwriting. Maybe it's because they struggle with lyrics in some cases, but I think in many cases people struggle with, especially men, in lyrics and being vulnerable. And it's not even, I don't even blame them for it. I think society kind of, has put a lot of that on us, and there's a lot of risks for a man to be vulnerable. And I think subconsciously what that's created is a lot of male musicians that have a hard time really exposing sort of the dark recesses of themselves publicly, and in a lot of their feelings, and in art it can stifle art, right? So in a way you almost have to tap into your inner feminine, and it sounds pretentious, maybe a little Jungian. I like Jung actually, but there's a lot of truth to it, and while it's taken me a while, and I'm still working on it, and I'm getting better with performances and really letting loose. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. When it comes to writing, songwriting, I have an easy time letting go, and I think that's why songwriting to me is not terribly difficult, because when I'm by myself, especially by myself, and I have a laptop in front of me, maybe a coffee and my guitar, I feel free, and I feel free to be myself, and I feel free to write and to compose, and I don't feel stifled. I don't feel like I'm holding myself back. Sometimes when I perform, it happens. I have a bad night, and maybe I'm really tense. I'm going through some personal stuff, and then I just don't let go. And when you don't let go when you're singing, you get tension, you get shoddy performances. Same with guitar, man. You're more likely to mess up on guitar and not be as fluid when you're tense. And I've dealt with my fair share of tension, that's for sure. But when I'm writing songs, and I find I have a lot more success in writing songs than anything, I'm loose, and I feel free. And it's probably because I've been writing in some capacity, be it when I was younger, short stories, poetry, whatever. I've been doing that since I was a child, right? So that's one area where I feel strong. And so if I were to give anyone any suggestions, I would say be willing to suffer when you write and when you perform. Or if you're feeling positive feelings, okay, fine, be willing to feel joy, whatever it is to you. But whatever inspires you, you need to feel free to explore it and feel free to feel it. And for me, if I'm sitting down, if with a pen in hand, not really anymore with a pen, but sometimes more with my laptop, and I got my guitar, or I'm getting some ideas, I find I can be loose in those situations. Some people can't. But the one reason I think is I am willing to be vulnerable, at least in that space. And then I come out with a song, and it's often a very vulnerable song. I mean, it's not every song I write's about me. Sometimes it's sort of living vicariously through someone else. Maybe it's a fictional character, maybe it's a real person, maybe it's a historic person, whatever. But I still have to feel it, and I have to be vulnerable, and it's almost like method acting in a way. And if that's not your style, I've written about my own struggles too, and my own pains, and those are the most vulnerable ones for me to perform too. And I feel weird. Some of them I don't perform. I haven't performed yet, or there's some I only perform in very specific places, or I'll perform. Maybe I'll perform them somewhere where people don't know me. It sounds. Maybe it's a bit insecure, and I'm going to get past that, I think. But nonetheless, if you're writing songs that force you to dig deep and to be vulnerable, then you're on the right track. At least that's my bias, because I was the music that always hit me the hardest was a lot of early '90s tunes. That was what they were all about, was public anguish, right? Or being willing to go into those spaces in your psyche, in your heart, and feel it through music. And one of my biggest inspirations, and he's been my hero since I was like 11 or 12 years old, is Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails, and that was his thing, and he knew dark spaces, and he would go there and just be as vulnerable as you could be. And another one I like a lot is Tori Amos, and then all of the, I don't like to call it grunge music, but a lot of the alternative guys are huge fans of, like Lane Staley and Chris Cornell. But even if you go back to like classical music, you think about Beethoven, I mean, how the feeling in his music was very much there, and he was vulnerable in his own way. The writers, Edgar Allan Poe, big influence of mine too, extraordinarily vulnerable. So if you're not willing to be vulnerable, in my opinion, you're not going to come up with anything that you're going to be happy with. If you are willing to be vulnerable, you may come up with something that really rings true to you, but you might be insecure about performing it at first. That's okay. Though I would encourage you to still do it, because the people that are in touch with themselves and their own emotions are going to, if it resonates with them, they're going to appreciate it. And for those that aren't, maybe it'll crack something open for them, or maybe not. Maybe they'll just think, why didn't he play Freebird? I don't fucking know. But be willing to be vulnerable, and I would say, if you can do that, if you can, I don't want to say, if you're willing to gut yourself in front of other people, and you're going to feel like you're being true, you're going to feel like you're being yourself. And for me, music is, it's freedom, and I think I'm quoting someone else who said that to me before. I can't remember who it was. It's a friend of mine, but I think he was quoting someone else too. But anyway, it's freedom. And for you, it might not be music. Maybe, you like to make sculptures. Maybe you like to write poetry yourself. Maybe, you're writing a novel, which is a huge undertaking and amazing. I have a friend who did that, and it's incredible. Shout out Kelly. But, I don't know, whatever it is for you, an opportunity to be in touch with yourself through art, and if you're lucky enough, be in touch with others too through it. So be willing to be vulnerable, and hopefully the rest will follow. So anyway, we're now going on 9 minutes into the video, and I definitely went on a rant, as you can expect from me. But I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I'm up here north of Seattle, Pacific Northwest, and it's a beautiful day. Look at all of these weeds we have. This is my backyard, and these weeds are, you can see, I've neglected a few things. So, this being one of them. But anyway, so hope you all have a great day. And if you do live in the area, you're enjoying the sunshine. And if you don't, same. Rain or shine, I hope you're having an awesome time. So, thank you.